Have you ever stopped to look at the world around you? From the biggest thing to the smallest thing. Everything seems to be in perfect balance. It's an amazing place. Genesis 1:1 says, "In the beginning, God created." It's like a painter who gives clues to their personality and character. Creation is God's canvas. Now, Paul actually wrote to the Roman church about the creation story. It says, "For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been made, so they are without excuse." In other words, if we take the time to look around at the world, there's no excuse for denying God as the creator. I actually think it takes more faith to believe that all of this just happened than there was actually a creator who designed everything perfectly. Now let's start with the expanse of the universe. We live on a planet that is over 120,000 kilometres in diameter. 385,000 kilometres away is the moon, and another 150 million kilometres away is the sun. The sun is one of only 400 billion stars in our galaxy, and there's an estimated somewhere between 50 and 200 billion galaxies in the universe. Well, at least that's what we know about. It's a massive place. Now, there's some great poetry in the Bible that actually talks about the creation story. So let's have a look at what it says in Psalm 19. "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky above proclaims his handiwork. Day to day pours out speech, and night to night reveals knowledge." Now, at the smallest end of the scale, we look at the space between atoms, which is measured in something called nanometers. A nanometer is 1/billionth of a metre, which is about the same perspective as a marble is to the size of the Earth. Now, that's small, and God has created everything from the biggest to the smallest. But it's not just about size, it's about creativity. And we know there's up to about 1.8 million living species in the world, and possibly up to 10 million more still to be discovered. Just think about some of those things and how much creativity God has put in their design. Even within the human race, there is so much creativity. Each human has a unique finger and tongue print, 100,000 kilometres of blood vessels, and an average of 100,000 strands of hair. We produce about 1 litre of saliva every day, and a heart that just keeps beating, so that if you reach the age of 70, it will have beat 2.5 billion times. God's involvement in creation isn't about just winding it up and setting it in motion. He is alive, and he's still involved today, renewing it and sustaining it. But what's so amazing that regardless of that complexity, he wants to have a relationship with you. Well, there's some more poetry in the Bible that talks about that in Psalm chapter 8. It says, "When I look at the night sky and see the work of your hands, the moon and the stars that you set in place, what are mere mortals that you should think about them, human beings that you should care for them?" See, science does a really good job of answering the how questions. How do we get here? How do things work? But it doesn't really answer the why questions. Why are we here? Why do things work like that? Why did God create the world, and why does he want a relationship with you? If you keep exploring this series on Christian stuff, then we're going to aim to try and answer some of those why questions. But in the meantime, if you've got anything you'd like to ask, you can always get in touch with us.